There are two real estate markets in Antalya right now, and depending on which you are in, you are either sitting on huge negotiation power or you are about to miss out on a property completely. This month, data tells a genuinely split story. In some parts of the city, there is plenty of inventory and buyers have room to negotiate. In others, like Konyaalt and Lara, the land is basically gone and sellers are holding all the cards. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which market you are standing in, what it means for your price and your timeline, and what to do about it. Whether you are buying, selling, or just watching Antalya from abroad and trying to time your move, let's get into it. Before I dive into the numbers, if you are watching this because you are actually thinking about buying, selling, or relocating to Antalya, I want you to know something. People just like you reach out to me every single week. Some of you are ready to move in the next few months, and some of you are just standing to research and want a straight answer instead of sales pitch. Both are completely welcome. Everything you need to get in touch with me directly is in the description below. So if something in this video raises a question specific to your situation, don't sit on it. Reach out and let's talk it through. Okay, let's look at what is actually happening in the market this month. What is the big picture? Why Antalya is really two markets? Now, here's the thing most people get wrong about Antalya real estate. They treat it like one market with one price and one trend. It is not. Citywide, especially in areas like Kepez and Manavgat, there is a healthy new build supply. Developers are still building, inventory is available, and buyers have real choice. As you can see here in the chart, we have many available in those areas. The inventory in Konyaalt as well is also very huge. But in the most in-demand coastal districts, Konyaalt and Lara specifically, the available land for new construction is nearly exhausted. That's not marketing language. That's just the physical reality of coastline with limited space and decades of development already on it. So when someone asks me, is Antalya a buyer market or a seller's market right now? The honest answer is it depends entirely on where in Antalya you are talking about. And that's the lens I want you to keep in mind for everything else in this video. Antalya is a huge 21,000 square kilometers. The double size of Qatar, the double size of Lebanon, very huge. So you have to keep in mind where you are buying in Antalya and what the amenities, what the proximity you are talking about. It's very complicated issue. So do research properly before you do or ask a professional agent. Now, what the prices actually looks like. Let's talk about numbers. Citywide, the median property price is sitting around 4.9 million Turkish lira, with price per square meter running roughly 45 to 50,000 lira. That translates to somewhere between 1,600 and 2,500 US dollars per square meter, depending on the district. But that range is huge, and here is why. In Kepez, you are looking at closer to $585 per square meter. In Konyaalt or Lara, you are at the top of the range or beyond it. So if you have been researching Antalya online and seen widely different price numbers from different sources, that is not bad reporting. That's just the market. District matters more than almost anything else when it comes to your budget. If someone gives you one number for Antalya real estate prices without asking where you want to live, take it with a grain of salt. So how long homes actually take to sell in Antalya? This next number is one of the most useful in the entire report, especially if you are selling. On average, a fairly priced home in Antalya takes 70 to 75 days to sell. Again, a fairly priced home. And that is a little over 2 months. But, and this is the important part, well-priced homes in Konyaalt and Lara can sell in a little as 45 days. Meanwhile, overpriced listings or ones with paperwork issues can sit for 120 days or more. That is not a small gap. That is the difference between selling in a month and a half versus sitting on the market for 4 months. And in my experience, it almost always comes down to two things: pricing it correctly from day one and having your documentation, your tabu or title deed, your paperwork ready to go before you ever list. If you are planning to sell, that's the single biggest lever you have control over. not the market, not the season, price, and paperwork. So who is actually buying right now? Let's talk demand, because this has shifted meaningfully over the past year. The traditional buyer pays. Russia, Germany, Scandinavia is still very active. But we are seeing real growth from the Gulf and from China, especially since Turkey's visa waiver for Chinese travelers took effect back in January. And the type of buyer is changing too. It's less about someone buying a holiday apartment they will visit twice a year, and more about buyers thinking long-term residency, citizenship, quality of life. That is more committed, more serious buyer profile, and it's part of why demand has stayed resilient, even with everything happening globally. One more useful start here: the average sale is closing about 4 to 6% below the original asking price. So if you are a buyer, there is a room to negotiate, but it's not a market where you are getting dramatic discounts. Realistic offers backed by good information are what actually work. Why so many buyers are buying cash? Here is something that explains a lot of what we just talked about. Turkey's central bank held its benchmark interest rate at 37% for the fourth month in a row this July. For context, that rate has barely moved since April. And at 37%, borrowing locally through a Turkish mortgage is simply not attractive for most domestic buyers. This is a huge part of what the Antalya market, especially the foreign buyer side of it, is so heavily cash driven. When financing is expensive, buyers who can pay right have a real advantage, and it changes the whole rhythm of how deals get done here. If you are a cash buyer considering Antalya, this is genuinely one of the most favorable environments you will find compared to markets where financing dominates. We have a question here. Is this market stable or it's about to turn? I get this question constantly, so let's address it directly. Is Antalya heading for a crash or a spike? Neither. Based on what the data is showing, housing-linked inflation has been cooling significantly. Annual rental inflation was around 54% in February, down from over 97% the year before. That is a big declaration. At the same time, prices in dollar and euro terms haven't declined. They have continued trending upward even during periods where things felt flat in lira terms. So the honest read is, this is a market that is stabilizing, not overheating and not correcting. That is actually a healthy environment to transact in. Whether you are buying or selling, you are not trying to catch a falling knife, and you are not chasing a runaway market either. So to bring it all together, if you are buying, you have got real room to negotiate, outside of Konyaalt and Lara, of course. But you need to move quickly if you want in on those two districts specifically. And if you are selling, your price and your paperwork are what determine whether you sell in 6 weeks or 4 months. Not luck, not the season. If you are serious about buying, selling, or relocating to Antalya, everything you need to reach me directly is in the description below. Like I said at the start, people just like you reach out every week, and I'm always glad to talk through your specific situation, no pressure. If you found this useful, go ahead and subscribe. I put out an update like this every single month, so you always know exactly where this market stands. I will see you the next time.